early, baby. Set it early. 180.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up, the best damn Kansas City Chiefs podcast in the kingdom.
Chiefs Kingdom, ACU crew, welcome back to another live podcast for that ass. Steve, why are we going live so early today?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. But you know what? We just want to get out here and do a little mock draft. We wanted to see how free agency, Steve. Free agency is not technically over, but we wanted to see how it's impacted us to this point come draft season. I think people's now kicked in the draft season now that the official first wave of free agency is over. It feels dead at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure something will come up soon. Brett Veach got to keep you on your toes, baby. He always likes to wait till the last second, though. I mean, even with the Hollywood signing, he waited and waited and waited.
Yeah.
But anyway, appreciate you guys.
For it.
Appreciate you guys being here, by the way. I see Adam, Brian Parrott, Scott, Eric in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Get this out to more people. We're on at an unusual time. So
very unusual.
The more likes that get hit, the more it'll get out and we can get more people in here because we're going to do a little mock draft and we're going to get your guys' opinion on some of it as well. So let's check that out, man. We're going to do walkthemock.com and see what we can come up with. Like Mike said, just post some of the signings and free agency, like what the Chiefs might be focused on at this point. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of people have the Chiefs taken or had the Chiefs taken first round wide receivers like crazy. Is that still a thing? Now that Hollywood Brown's in, are people still doing first round receivers?
Right, yeah. The latest to come out was, I want to say Daniel Jeremiah just released one yesterday, and he's like, I chose violence today. And I was like, oh, man, what's he going to do? So I click on it, and I was like, surely he ain't going to give us a Texas wide receiver. Boom, Texas wide receiver. But this time he did switch it up, A.D. Mitchell. And now RGR's doing an A.D. Mitchell thing, and all these other ones are doing A.D. Mitchell. And now everybody's on the A.D. Mitchell bandwagon
Twitter
today.
It's full of A.D. Mitchell.
That's why we put him on the cover. Don't be left out. Whatever the hot topic is, just do it.
We got to fit right in, baby.
Just do it. Just do it while everybody's hot on it because this is what everybody wants. It's just it's an echo.
Another thing everybody's horned up on X is Kool-Aid McKinstry, which we've been saying for a minute now. Like he had a foot injury, like he's going to drop a little lower than he should. Maybe that's some value you could look at if you wanted to replace some corner. If you went ahead and traded Snead or whatever, which I don't think they need to. But we had mentioned it. But now, because he ran a 4.47 in his pro day with his broken foot, he is the king of the world.
Yeah, so, but 1 foot McKinstry out here, that was discovered.
Kool-Aid.
He's going to have.
What color Kool-Aid do you think he is? Like, would he be like the red kind,
cherry?
Purple, cherry?
I feel like he's cherry, like that cherry red that matches the uniform. I think of like the Kool-Aid guy that matches the Alabama red, the Crimson Tide.
The good kind.
Kool-Aid. Steve, Kool-Aid, he was coming, he was a first-round pick on most draft boards. Once that foot injury got thrown out there, they thought he was a second-rounder. I still stay decently high on him. I thought that he could still sneak into the first or be at worst, mid second-rounder. I've got him in the top 50 as of right now on my board. I think he's going to shoot up the boards a little bit because apparently once he has this surgery, he should be ready to go by training camp. Yeah. So now it's very possible he could slide into the back end.
The narrative today on X and everywhere else is Kool-Aid fought through a foot fracture to run a 4.47 in his pro day. He is amazing.
It wasn't a fracture, was it? Wasn't it like a...
It's a Jones fracture.
The Jones fracture.
The pure drive and grit that it took for him to do that makes him the greatest player of all time. Dude, you know how they're doing.
Hey, is it
you
more
know
impressive,
what's
though?
going on over there.
Is it more impressive that he runs a 4.4 with a broken foot, or a really tiny wide receiver loses extra weight to run a 4.21?
Right, exactly. Who cares? I'm like more this year than ever. I'm on the bandwagon of I don't really give a crap what these guys do in their t-shirts and shorts. Like the combine to me.
Like Marvin Harrison. He's on board with you. He ain't doing jack crap.
Well, that's another thing. You got guys like him and Caleb Williams that are refusing to even do any of it. They don't do a pro day. They don't do combine. It's like, why would they do anything that's going to hurt their draft stock? Everybody already thinks that they're
Steve, the bandwagon has kicked
Patrick
in on
Mahomes
that too
and
now.
Jerry Rice. So
they don't disrespect the draft process. They're just getting ready to play in actual games, and they don't have to do this stuff. it's I don't know. Who cares at the end of the day? I mean, I don't care. Nobody's going to not draft Marvin Harrison top. What, 5? He's going to the top 5 easily.
It doesn't matter. Exactly. And he knows that. That's
if this wasn't such a heavy QB, it's not even a great QB class from front to back. Like, it's not like game changing. It's just top heavy. There's about 3. And if you want to include JJ McCarthy, there's 4. But technically, JJ McCarthy's going to get picked in the top 10, and that's an overdraft. JJ McCarthy's like the number 25 player on my board or something like that. That's an overdraft. Like, teams do this every year, don't they? They do it every year. Look at Darius Hayward Bay. He runs really fast, and then he busts. Henry Ruggs runs really fast, and he busts. People are never going to learn. They don't learn because they won't stick to their draft boards.
Stick to your draft board. Speaking of draft boards, what kind of rankings are we using on the Walk the Mock draft here? Is it our top 100 or theirs?
I'm not for sure. I think it's a mix of the both.
Like a integration.
But the rankings will be a lot better than you'll see on PFF, probably.
All right. Well, if you guys don't care, hit that like button, get this out to more people real quick, and we'll go ahead and roll this out. We'll start doing the draft.
Right. Hey, Roberto.
Roberto in the house. What's up, Roberto?
He says, I trust the ACU draft analysis. What offensive tackle do you see us drafting?
Let's see.
Depends. It just depends on what round we have to take them in. I was doing some big time analysis, Steve, on tackles and guards and centers yesterday, interiors. And I've like mixed up some of my rankings, probably from the last time you've seen them. I mixed them up just a little bit. And I've done this deep, big brain thing where I'm not even going to tell you the process because somebody will come on here and watch this and then they'll explain the process and say how awesome it is. And that's what they do. But I've now figured it out. And I've found like 3 or 4 potential, what was supposed to be 6th, 7th round picks. And these guys have stuff that makes me really think they could be something. We'll talk about it. Let's just jump into the draft.
Let's do the draft. We can talk about this stuff as we do the draft. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, Kathy might be onto something. Probably long snapper in the first round.
Let's go, baby.
There was always a long-running joke that the Chiefs were just going to draft the worst player ever in our household. And Pops used to say that they would draft Harvey Longshong, the punter from Alcorn State.
Yep, that was
Why
it.
Alcorn?
That was the guy that was the guy the Chiefs were taking every year in the first round. Okay,
Harvey Longshong with the pick. Let's jump into this. Let's jump into it. You want to guide it along there, Stevie? We'll do that one. And I'll just I'm just gonna hit the start draft. We're the Chiefs, obviously. We're gonna go 7. And let's do it. Let's just roll it, baby.
Let's roll it out. Let's make it a group effort here. We'll go with the chat and we'll see what we can come up with for this pick. We will move it along.
And we're not doing trades, by the way. That's just too much time and effort.
Man, trades are so hard to predict, dude. Very, very hard to predict. What do we got going on, man?
Very hard to predict. Okay, well, let's look at the last few picks. Oli Fashanu goes number 24. Now, see, I'm in the camp that if a tackle of this caliber falls to 24, Brett Veach and them might try to get up, right? But we're not trained in this region. There goes A.D. Mitchell. Everybody.
A lot of it depends on the draft capital that we have, and if we don't offload L'Jarius Sneed, it's not like we have a boatload of draft capital.
Tyler Guyton going at 31. I would be absolutely sick if Tyler Guyton got this close to the Chiefs and we couldn't make a move on him.
I don't think he'll make it past Dallas.
I don't think he will either. It just depends. But yeah, Tyler Guyton, what a good pick. So they still say wide receiver is our number 1 need. Offensive tackle way down the pipe here.
That's weird. This just shows you how out of touch most people are with what the Chiefs need.
Now, I don't know if these are actually in order of how they rank the needs or if it's just rankings of needs.
All right, well, what do we got?
We got Graham Barton on the board. I don't know why I started with him first. Byron Murphy, Xavier Worthy, Graham Barton, Jerzon Newton, Nate Wiggins, Tyler Newman, Zach Frazier, Kamari Lassiter, Keon Coleman, Xavier Leggett, Ricky Pearsall. We'll stop there. That's a a pretty good big board. This is a pretty deep draft. I really think, Steve, there's
sure.
I probably got like 33. No, 33. 43. I've got about 43 potential first round picks that I could give a first round grade to. So I don't think the Chiefs can really do no wrong here at 32 unless they
pull a McCall Hardman out of their ass or a CEH or something.
Right.
No, man. So obviously I don't think that y'all let us know in the chat what you think. Receiver in the first round after signing Marquise.
Why don't we do a poll? Can you do a poll really quick? And let's just do a poll for about 3 or 4 minutes. What do you think the Chiefs' number one draft need is now, post free agency in the first round? Wide receiver, defensive line, tackle. That's probably the top 3, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, you have to give me a minute to get all that open. So
you're fine. We can just kill time for a second. I just want everybody to be involved here. I want everybody to be able to get in here and talk about it. Let's see. Let's go to the chat for just a second. Jeremy Gold says Byron Murphy is worth talking about. Byron Murphy here is a very intriguing pick. Yeah, he's a pretty pretty intriguing pick. I'm trying to bring up my actual rankings. I've got Byron Murphy rated as the number 24 player in the draft. Daniel Jeremiah has him ranked number 19. So that's an average of about 22. Mel Kiper has Byron Murphy at 25. Field Yates has Byron Murphy at 11. So Field Yates very big on him. And then I think I'm the next. No, 24. DJ's got him at 19. So Field Yates, DJ's got him in the top between 10 and 20. I have him in the mid-20s, and Kiper has him right at 25. So, yeah, that is a very intriguing pick right here, Steve. Byron Murphy.
All right, well, what positions did you want me to put on the poll? Wide receiver, offensive tackle?
Defensive line. I think that's your 3.
All right, polls up.
And, of course, this is just a poll on what we think the Chiefs' biggest need is. You always probably need to come off of that to look at best player available in this situation, in my opinion. So best player available on this board is Byron Murphy at 24. But also, like I say, Graham Barton at 6'5", 314. They've got him listed as a tackle here, but he's probably going to kick inside the guard.
Yep. Pop says that if Murphy's there, we jump on him.
I think
like Andy Reid jumped on Chris Jones at the end of the Super Bowl, just like that. Like Andy Reid just goes out there and just Yokozunas him right there on the stage.
Yoko's him. By the way, Graham Barton, 32 and 7/8 inch arms, 9 and 3/8 inch hands. He's sub 33 inch arms, which means he is more than likely kicking down into guard. So could he do it? I mean, it's possible he could play tackle, but I still think he's gonna find his best work at guard. So I do think Graham Barton is off the board. Jerzon Newton is kind of intriguing.
Love Johnny Newton.
Yeah, 6'2", 295. If you watch any of his film, he is a game disruptor.
Yeah, he is.
He is last year's Kalijah Kancey to the max.
I like him a lot. I watched a lot of his tape the other day, and I think he's a great pick. I'll tell you something else, though. A lot of people's talking about the wide receiver, and we'll let the poll keep going for just a minute. A lot of people talking about wide receiver, and I'll tell you why I'm kind of against wide receiver in the first round right now. First of all, we all know it's a deep draft with wide receiver. There's some really good ones out there, but there's a guy that I've increasingly got bigger and bigger on as I watch his tape. And then I've read through his story, like just different things about the guy, and like I could almost make an entire video, and I might do it. I might make a whole video on why I think this guy might be the wide receiver.
You're dipping into the territory of Danny Harms.
Well, I'm not gonna do like tape or anything like that. We're not doing a film evaluation, but I wanted to tell you why I'm so big on this guy. And I have a whole laundry list of stuff, but I'm just going to throw the name out there for now. And then maybe I'll make a video or something about it. But I think people sleeping on Xavier Legette.
Oh, you've now bought into Xavier Legette, huh?
Well, I've always liked him a little bit, but the more I watch and the more I read up on this kid,
Is it because of the way he talks?
That does have a part in it.
Dude, he's the most country guy. He's like, I want to stay down here close to home down here in South Carolina. You just throw me a football. I love it, dude.
No, man, there's a lot to it. Actually, like I said, I can make a whole video about. I might do it. I might do it. So, yeah,
okay. Man. I didn't know you were so high on Xavier Legette.
I wasn't, but I feel like
he cracked our top 10 wide receiver list.
Right,
I
but
mean, he's there.
He's moving on up, Mike. George Jefferson style.
He's moving on up. Okay. Well, in the poll, let's see what everybody thought would be the way to go here in first round. And by the way, it's probably not going to even impact this pick because more than likely we're looking at best player available. And I feel like people's going to say offensive tackle. I do think offensive tackle is probably
poll. We got 43%. This roughly keeps moving. 43% offensive tackle. So right now, people's heavy on offensive tackle, then wide receiver, defensive line just a little bit below wide receiver.
Right. So okay. So if you look at offensive tackle, your selection, they've got Graham Barton listed here, but he's not a tackle. Okay, they just got that. They've got a wrong position. They've got Zach Zinter here. He's probably gonna be a guard too. So it would be Jordan Morgan, Patrick Paul. Now look, I love Patrick Paul. I really do. I love Patrick Paul. He is a flat out monster. The dude's 6'7.5", 331 pounds. And he run a 5.13 40-yard dash. Like, that is incredible. But the even crazier statistic on this guy, 36 1/4 inch arms, dude. This guy could, like, he can bend over. He don't have to bend over.
You know, if
you're walking down the street.
Standing straight up.
Yeah, he can just bend over and get a penny off the ground without even bending over, right? He just long fingers it.
We got a 5-bomb from Flapjack. He says, whoever compared Caleb Williams versus Patrick Mahomes, them fighting words, parking lot time. Man, we saw some dumb stuff today. I think it was NFL Notifications was the account that put out a comparison today. And they literally had Caleb Williams beating Patrick Mahomes in every category except for championships. It's like, what?
That is so stupid.
Oh, he had better arm strength. He was faster and better.
People do anything just to get some clicks, don't they?
Yeah, that's exactly what
they'd sell their mom's soda Satan to get a click on Twitter.
Appreciate the 5, Flapjack. Yeah, man. So I think the overwhelming majority is thinking offensive tackle in the first round. I like offensive tackle in the first round, but I think
you would have to pick between Jordan Morgan, who is coming off an ACL injury a year ago, who did come back and play well. He's decently athletic. And then you got Patrick Paul, who I firmly believe Patrick Paul is a second-round pick. I think if you get him at 32, you reach just a slight bit. Then again, I mean, if you're not planning on coming up in the second round, maybe you have to reach a little bit.
I think they need to come up in the first round if they want to get a tackle. If one of those guys fall a little bit, go up and get them.
Yeah.
Kind of like they did Trent McDuffie, which obviously they only went up to like 21 for McDuffie. But if someone were to fall in that late teens,
kind of the way we thought they were going to do Anton Harrison last year, and then they tried to pass it off as they was going after Mozzie Smith.
Right. I think to me, I feel like the tackles in this draft are more top heavy. Like it's not like wide receivers where you can grab a game changing guy in a late second round.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. That's where I'm at with it. But yeah, I mean, for the sake of this exercise, everybody seems to be leaning on offensive tackle. They also said wide receiver was second. So why don't you go back to the big board, offensive tackle, wide receiver, and let's talk this out real quick.
Here you go. You got Xavier Worthy. Oh, but you're still forgetting though. Defensive line did have a lot up there, and now you've got to look at just the best player on the board is obviously Byron Murphy. So he is definitely in consideration.
Yeah, and I like it for the simple fact that we signed everyone back on 1-year deals. Mike Pinnell's not a spring chicken. He's getting up there in age. I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s. Then you got Isaiah Buggs is older.
Yeah.
Neil Farrell Jr., I liked him coming out of the draft from LSU, but he's yet to get enough playing time to really prove himself, so we don't know what we have with him. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with defensive line, honestly.
Yeah. Bezoza says they're going to move up and grab Alt so he can follow his daddy's shoes. They don't have enough draft capital this year or next year to get up high enough to get him. So
yeah, I don't think so.
It's probably not going to work. Steve, I think here's what you should do. They said wide receiver. I think the tackle – if you put a tackle on the board, it would be Patrick Paul. Why don't you throw up a poll? Byron Murphy, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Paul. I think that is the poll, and whatever the people decide, we'll take. And I think that is the way we should probably do this. We'll narrow it down to 3 by talking it out, and we'll let the people pick it. By the way, if anybody donates a 20 bomb, I'll give you the pick. You just skip the chat. You get the pick. I don't care if it's a quarterback. I'll take it.
See. So we're going Byron Murphy, Xavier Worthy, and Patrick Paul.
Yeah. Unless you think unless you think the Chiefs could either look at Coleman or Leggett over Worthy. I feel like
that
Worthy's
is definitely what I would do, but we're letting the chat kind of control this thing.
Right.
So let's see. Got the poll out there. Make sure to vote on it. We'll close that out in like 2 minutes probably because we got to keep this thing moving. So
yeah, for sure. Xavier Worthy is not 6'1", by the way. They've got him listed as 6'1", 172. Xavier Worthy is actually 5'11", 165. He lost about 10 pounds.
Which one's right, though? Who knows?
The NFL draft knows. And I'm doing NFL draft numbers.
I clicked the wrong thing here. Pops with a 5 gifted. Appreciate you, old man.
If Pops goes with 5 gifted, Pops might be in the lead to pick.
Yeah, Pops might be making this pick.
He might be making this pick out here.
Whoever has the best super chat or gifted at any given pick, they can trump the chat. They can trump the poll.
That's hilarious.
They can trump the poll. So
Pops out here growing the crew. I think Pops would take Byron Murphy here for sure.
Right now it's looking like Byron Murphy is in the lead.
And I think Pops would take Byron Murphy.
We're going to let it go for 1 more minute. So if you haven't voted on that poll yet, do it. But right now it's looking like Byron Murphy's going to be the pick, man.
Well, let's talk about Byron Murphy for just a minute, shall we?
Let's talk about
Byron Murphy is my number 1 rated defensive tackle. 6'1.5", 297 pounds. That was his official weigh-in. They've got him listed on here as 308.61. That is wrong. That was his Texas numbers. He did not officially weigh in for that, guys. He's 6'1.5", 297 pounds. But he did run the 40 in 4.87 seconds and a 10-yard split of 169. And if you don't think that's crazy and shows that he's got some athletic burst, he had a 33-inch vertical jump who only got beat by Braden Fisk, who beat him by half an inch, 33.5. He's got 10.25-inch hands and almost 32.5-inch arms. So he can flat out get after the quarterback. He can create pressure. He's fast. He's got a great first step. I love Byron Murphy. He's my number 1 rated defensive tackle. I would take him right now, hands down.
That's the pick in the chat. So Byron Murphy it is in round 1. Go ahead and snag him up.
Let's go. Byron Murphy, send it in. And the Chiefs have got their first round pick here, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause, by the way. You can't find any better value that fit a need than Byron Murphy. He was and look, lo and behold, Patrick Paul is still on the board for the Patrick Paul people. Byron Murphy, dude. If the Chiefs pulled out Byron Murphy on night 1,
that'd be huge.
That is the biggest steal in the past 10 years in the NFL draft, wouldn't it be?
Potentially.
Dude, it's insane value, and it fills a need, too. So, how did we know Pops was taking Harvey Longschlong? I told you, we predicted that to happen, and it may have happened.
Predicted it. All right, what we got going on in the second round here, man? Let's go ahead and move on to the second round.
Second round. We got Troy Franklin for all the wide receiver guys out here. A lot of people like Troy Franklin.
I'd rather take
Steven is not big on Troy Franklin. Patrick Paul. You got Zach Zinter, who is a guard. Maybe they want to start messing around with Trey Smith and everybody. You know,
well, they definitely need any kind of offensive line depth they can get. So
right, you've got Jalen Polk, wide receiver, pretty good wide receiver there at 6'2", 204. By the way, I don't think he's exactly. No, he is exactly 6'2", 204. So they nailed that one on the head. Dude, he played second fiddle to Romo Dunze, by the way. And he still had 70 catches, 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, at most schools, Jalen Polk would have been WR1.
For sure.
I mean, but he had Roma Dunze. So Danny asked who was a wide receiver that run a slow 40 but fleeced everyone in the gauntlet with the fastest time. That was Keon Coleman,
baby.
Who I think is potentially my favorite receiver in the draft.
Keon Coleman, in my opinion, has the best ball skills as in catching the football.
I think he's the best there. I think it's the highest chance of being a wide receiver 1 in this league going forward. Like in the future, like that's who I could see doing it. Like if everything pans out.
Out of every wide receiver, or just at the end of the.
Almost out of all of them, because I feel like obviously Malik Neighbors is probably my favorite.
You got your top three that
you got Malik Neighbors, you got Marvin Harrison. But I don't know, man. I feel like he's pretty prototypical WR1. So
I don't know. To me, Keon Coleman's got everything
he's definitely going to be an X in the league, bro. I think so.
But we've also seen those type of body frames, that type of everything kind of fail. Yeah, I think you have to fall into a very good situation.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But what are we looking at here? So let's see. So we already went defensive line, so I think Dorless is out the window. I think it's going to be
Joe must have missed Steve's first
my tirade
soliloquy about how he liked Xavier Legette.
Yeah, man. So I could tell you all about it, dude. I told you I can make a whole video on it. I'm just going to give you a snippet real quick. How about that? Why I'm so big on Xavier Legette.
Oh God, here we go. We're back. Before you do that, why don't we throw up another poll? It's looking like it's going to be Troy Franklin, Patrick Paul, or we'll go probably Jalen Polk here. I think that might be your top three best on the board. You've got Kieran Amagaji. My bad. I almost couldn't spit that out. Kieran Amagaji is a very intriguing second round tackle prospect, in my opinion. Very solid.
So what do you want the poll to be?
Well, I think here you got to go to wide receiver. You got to go to offensive tackle. That was your top two positions. So I think you have to start looking at that. Can you do 4 options?
No. Yeah.
Okay, I think you should put up Patrick Paul. And I think you should put up Troy Franklin. That should be your top. And then your third option should be your third option should be Kieran Amagaji from Yale. And you can just put Kieran, Kirana. Just put that down. We'll know who it is. He's 6'5", 323. By the way, he's got 36 and an 1/8 inch arms. So that is insanity. That tied for the highest at the combine with Amarius Mims. And by the way, Amarius Mims is a
who'd you want for the fourth?
The fourth one, I think Jalen Polk probably fits the bill. Do you think Jalen Polk or Jermaine Burton? Jermaine Burton's got a little bit of a baggage behind him.
A bit, but I do like him.
Yeah, but Burton, look, here's the reason I don't like Burton. Burton had a potential to be a top 10 pick. He never could do it. He couldn't get over the hump during the season. He was kind of hit or miss. He's got a little bit of an attitude problem. So there. A lot of people are saying let's look at tight end as well, and I'll say that as well. But tight end, well, you do have Theo Johnson. So that could be okay.
I feel like Theo Johnson, I feel like people are getting in a love fest with his measurables and his athleticism.
Right.
Like it's so easy to do that.
This is about this is about where he would come off the board, though, in my opinion. I'm going to say late second, you can start looking at him somewhere after pick 60. And I believe he could go somewhere between pick 60 and pick 100. It just depends on how you value him.
But speaking of, like in measurables and athleticism of a player, that's huge, right? So I mean, I'm not knocking people that do that. I'm just saying that I don't think Theo he didn't necessarily produce in college the way that you would like to see a guy that you're going to take time draft.
Whoever wins the poll after 2 minutes, we'll put up head-to-head versus Theo Johnson, and we'll make that the pick. Since I am seeing a lot of tight ends.
I don't like Theo in the second round. That's wild.
Well, we're letting the people pick.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go on my tirade about the Xavier Legette.
Do that while these people are voting here.
Just a snippet of why I've kind of fallen in love with this kid. So we were just talking about athleticism and measurables and all that. This guy's size speed combo, I think, is borderline generational talent. And I think it's getting swept under the rug. He ran a 4.39 40 at 225 pounds.
Yeah.
He had a 40-inch vertical.
Yeah.
His RAS score is top 25 of all time in wide receivers.
Okay.
And just a side note, they clocked him at 22.3 miles an hour in game last year, which would have been the fastest recorded in the NFL last year by at least a mile an hour.
So that'd be Tyreek Hill on the field.
So this guy's out there just going ham, bro. And he's like a walking big play. Like if you go watch his tape, like you never know.
Honestly, it's just Spencer Rattler throwing you the football.
That's just a snippet. I got a lot of stuff on David Leggett lately. I've been kind of digging in. So I mean, I'll probably get to more of that on a video or something like that.
Right. SA Flip, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in a little while. Five Bomb here. He says, "Sup, fellas. Hope all is well." Off topic. Wouldn't it be sick to see Hollywood Brown pick out and wear jersey 0? It suits his contract. That would be funny. I think he's already said, what's he going, 5?
5, I believe. Yeah, they're going 5. 0 would have been cool, though.
Yeah, 0 would have been awesome.
Didn't Calvin Ridley go with 0 last year with the Jags?
I think so.
It's not unheard of.
People like the 0 pick.
Yep.
Why is 0 so popular? Well, it's not really like super popular, but it's popular among watchers. We want 0s.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, later, Chiefer. Have a good day at work, man. I gotta do the same thing here in just a little while. So
for sure. Appreciate the 5 bomb.
Yeah, thanks for the 5 Flip.
Throw some catch-ups in the chat for Flip. Throw some catch-ups in the chat for Flapjack.
All right. Well, let's go back and get this thing moving right now. 53%. It's overwhelmingly Patrick Paul. Okay. Like it's not even close. So
Patrick Paul versus Theo. We'll go for 1 minute. Vote as fast as you can. And the people get to pick it unless
somebody super chats and trumps the poll.
You can just super chat Trump it.
Patrick Paul and Theo Johnson.
Yeah.
All right, polls up.
I like how you wrote Kieran. That's disrespectful.
Is it?
It's.
I think the way his name's spelled is disrespectful.
That's very disrespectful to Amadaji. The kid's from Yale.
You expected me to be able to say that?
You can't even spell a guy's name that goes to Yale. That's how unsmart you are compared to the Yale kid. It's incredible.
I would argue that.
Oh gosh. You're gonna argue if you're smarter than a kid that goes to Yale?
We've seen what all these elite school people do when they get out, Mike. They're geniuses, aren't they?
Yeah, well.
Let's see. Yeah, but I think it's disrespectful that they would expect me to say that or spell it. So that's what he gets.
You're rude. Okay, well, it's looking like Patrick Paul is trumping this one. So I guess Patrick Paul is going to be
Patrick Paul in the set. Hold on.
Oh, is it making a comeback?
Oh, Adam, it's definitely Patrick Paul. Adam says 5 bomb.
Oh,
Patrick Paul.
Adam definitely. He goes over the. Hey, check it out. This is for Adam right here. Send it in. Patrick Paul is the pick, ladies and gents.
Let's go.
There we go. I mean, Patrick Paul, he was winning, but Adam comes in and seals the deal, and we say, nay. Nobody even gets a chance to vote Theo at this point.
Right. Well, what about old Patrick Paul, Mike? What do you like about that pick? What do you think his upside is? Like, what could he do immediately for the Chiefs, I guess?
I love Patrick Paul. He's played over 900 snaps in his career at Houston. And you would say, hey, it's Houston, man. Like, that's not good competition. Nay. They do a lot of good things there at Houston. He is 6'7.5", 331 pounds. The dude is like a bulldozer. He has pretty good footwork and movement with his hips, by the way. He looked really good at the combine, like working out with his hips. He's very fast in his back pedal. Dude, he's pretty good. His slide is pretty elite, in my opinion. I think he's awesome. And the fact that he could run a 5.13 40-yard dash is insane. He also vert jumped 29 inches. That's impressive by a guy that's 6'7.5", dude. Yeah, and then 36 1/4 inch arms. It's incredible how long his arms are. They're actually 3 inches longer than Chris Jones. So if Chris Jones is pass rushing him from a 9 technique, Patrick Paul will touch Chris Jones 3 inches before his fingertips could even get to him. It's incredible. And by the way, over those 900 left tackle snaps, he played every bit of it at left tackle. So he didn't move up and down the line. He's a true left tackle, and he only give up one sack this year. Yeah. 1 sack out of every game. So the kid's a flat-out beast. And Andy Reid and the Chiefs talked with him. They met with him. So
that always says something, right? But yeah, I do like. I'm not the best at observing offensive line tape, or anything like that. So normally we'll lean into what you have to say about that. But from what I have watched, I did like Patrick Paul. I thought he was pretty good. I think To me, it's like I don't feel like he's a plug and play type guy. That's not somebody that's going to come in and start left tackle for you. I don't think that. I think it would definitely it'd take some time. I just don't know if I could say you can start him day one.
Who? Patrick Paul?
Yeah.
No, I think you could. You would have a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not going to be.
I mean, that's a
what Wanye
huge
give
step
you.
going from University of Houston to NFL.
I don't think he's any worse than what Wanye would give you. I honestly don't.
Well, that's fair, I guess. But anyway, let's get back to it. Let's get to the third round, baby.
Wait a second. Lewis says Houston makes junk players.
Uh-oh.
Tell that to Tank Dell last year. He looked pretty good.
Houston. Is it funny that he went to Houston College? He ended up at Houston, and then he's just going to stay in Houston his whole life. I hope he was born in Houston.
Who? Tank Dell?
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't.
His nickname's Houston, by the way. No, I'm joking.
Pop says Patrick Paul is a Tony Baselli clone.
Ooh, Pops is going out with a Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli comp?
With the comp there.
That's wild, Pops. That's a big comp.
Ray, what's up, my man? He says, sorry I'm late. Better late than never, man. Looks like you're taking care of business. Hope you're doing okay. All right. Yeah, what do we got going on in the third round here then? Let's keep this thing trucking along. I got a little bit more time here.
So the Chiefs have got their defensive line and their offensive tackle. So you win in the trenches, right? So I think round 3, you have to start looking at the tight end or the wide receiver, in my opinion. You can maybe throw in a corner here if you want, if you don't think round 3 is too early for a corner. So let's look at tight end, wide receiver, and let's go and look at corner, and then you can never shoot down edge. I think you can never have too many edge rushers. So This is where we're at here. Theo Johnson is still on the board in round 3, and this feels a little better for me. For Theo.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better for third round, but
you've also got Devontae Walker out of North Carolina, who Tez Walker, by the way, he looked rough. He looked rough in some of the early stuff this year in the offseason, but he's actually made himself a case to be flying back up the boards. He's 6'1.5", 193, and he runs a 4.36 at the combine with a 40.5-inch vertical.
I would feel comfortable taking a flyer on Walker in the third round or later. But if they try to take him in the second, I would not be comfortable with that.
So then you also got Johnny Wilson, the big 6'7", 237 guy. He's probably going to get switched over to tight end at some point.
Too awkward and gangly for me. I watched some of his tape, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like it's so weird looking.
Braylon Trice is still on the board here at edge. I think that's a pretty good pick. Solid. Yeah. So I would say let's go ahead and narrow it down to this.
Get a poll for Theo, Walker.
Tez Walker. Let's go ahead and throw Braylon Trice on the board. And then I think we need a corner here. Is it too early for corner, in your opinion? I think it's too early for corner. I think the way the Chiefs draft.
Well, we're pretty solid at that position anyway, even if we lose Snead.
Right.
So I don't think you have to take a high draft pick on it.
Why don't you throw Malik Washington on there? The little slot receiver out of Virginia. That way you got two different kinds of receivers here. You've got your big guy, and then you got Malik Washington. He's more of a slot kind of guy. Malik Washington, pretty good out of UVA, by the way. Like, he's pretty good. I've got him ranked right now as my number 19 overall receiver, and I think I probably can put him up the board a little bit.
Scroll down on the player pool. Who did you have? Braylon Trice?
Braylon Trice, Malik Washington.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's do this. I'll go ahead and post that poll up.
Let's go. TGZ 2 Bomb says, hit that like button. We need Theo. So Theo might have a little bit of an advantage here going in.
If you don't want Theo, you better do some work.
Yeah, Theo now has a big advantage. He gets a big advantage unless somebody pops in and says, nay, nay.
Nay. Looks like
this is about this is about the spot for Theo. And to be honest, I think Theo's probably off the board by this pick.
Potentially. I also think that
I think he may go early in the third.
I also think that the Chiefs could completely ignore tight end again.
Yeah, we've seen them do that.
Like a lot of people want to take a tight end. That tight end's been huge, but there was a good pool of tight ends last year. They passed up freaking Sam Laporta. They passed up Michael Mayer, I think.
They did bring in Eric All yesterday from Iowa, Steve.
They did. So they are interesting.
I don't think they brought him in yesterday, but they've announced that they're going to do a top 30.
Right. So I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things they could take one, or they might just completely ignore it again. Because I
Right.
mean, for 2 years running, there's been a really good tight end group, and they've passed up. I mean, they passed up Trey McBride and Greg Dulcich 2 years ago. They passed up all those guys last year. I don't know, man. I don't know if they'll.
Yeah, Eric All out of Iowa, 6'4", 252. So they seem to be looking at the guys that are every bit above 6'4", which is kind of knocking out your guys like Dallin Hoker and Jaheim Bell. It's kind of knocking out those H-back kind of guys.
Appreciate the 2 TGZ. Yeah, for sure.
TGZ, appreciate that, brother.
Well, Denny B in the comments makes a good point too. They just signed Irv, so they've already filled that room up essentially. So I mean, they could go right into the season right now and be fine. They don't have to draft one. I mean, they still have Bushman on the practice squad.
I think Bushman's going to actually make a push to Irv Smith this year. I don't think it's set in stone that Irv Smith makes his team, in my opinion. They're only paying him like $1.2 million. It's not nothing they can't override. And Bushman, he's a fan favorite, and he was actually picking up steam. Like, people were thinking last year he could have got on the squad. Do you remember?
Yeah, Brian Parrott still thinks that they were going to try to get Dalton Kincaid. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Dalton Kincaid's like your Travis Kelce-esque tight end, right? Like, he's just a receiver. I mean, and Buffalo snagged him up. So I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with tight end. I don't know if they'll touch it this year, to be quite honest, because they passed up some really good guys the last couple of years. So,
right. So if you didn't go Theo here and you went next round, you have a chance of looking at Tanner McLaughlin out of Arizona. You would also have Dallin Hoker from Colorado State on the board. Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, by the way.
With Cade Stover,
a lot of people like him. Who is it?
Cade Stover from OSU.
No, he's not here. He's gone.
I like him. Like, the more I watch tape too, I do like Theo, okay and stuff. But for some reason, Cade Stover sticks out to me, and I don't know what it is. Just like a more of a intuition thing than anything.
Cade Stover went round 3 to the Commanders.
Man, yeah. If the Chiefs could have got Sam Laporta last year instead of taking Felix in the first round, that could have been a monster pick. I mean, huge. So they definitely missed there.
Ruben says, what do you guys think we're going to be doing at running back? I think it'll be a late round flyer or a UDFA.
Agreed.
And still, everybody's just kind of throwing off Prince.
Right.
Like, we still have Deneric Prince. And I think everybody expected him to be great last year. Then when it didn't happen, everybody just give up on him. But he's still a good running back. And now he's got a year under his belt. So I don't think they give up on Deneric Prince this quick either.
Absolutely. So it looks like the overwhelming majority wants Theo Johnson. TGZ, I think it was, or who came in with the...
Yep, TGZ with the 2 bombs. So Theo, it is. There it is on the board.
Picking Theo. Yeah, Mike, I'm going to let you tell us about Mr. Theo Johnson real quick. What do you like about him?
Dude, Theo's pretty awesome. He's an RAS beast, right? So I've got him shot up the boards because of that RAS number. I've got him as a number 3rd ranked tight end, so I think it's pretty good. I've got him just edging out Cade Stover, who Steve likes. But the reason I do is because 6'6", 259, you cannot teach size and speed. The dude runs a 4.57 40, a 1.55 split, and almost a 40-inch vertical jump. He is a complete red zone nightmare he's a matchup nightmare. He just is. Franklin in that offense there did not feature him very well. They really didn't. They don't ask him to do a lot. I think on the season he only had 400 yards. But the NFL, in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense and an Andy Reid system, I think he could come in and do what possibly Jody Fortson was brought in to do, and Fortson just couldn't stay healthy. So I believe Theo gives you a Fortson upgrade at what they wanted to do there, and I think he is a red zone threat, and I think getting him in the 3rd round would be a steal, because I think if you don't look at him at the late 2nd, I think he's gone before we pick in round 3. So in this scenario, if he's on the board, I think it was a smart pickup. I think the ACU crew did a good job there.
And just real quick, man, what's your opinion on what would that do to Noah Gray? Like, how would it affect that situation?
Right. I think Noah Gray still gets the amount of snaps he's going to get. He is basically tight end 2 because he does similar things to Kelce. Theo is not going to be a Kelce replacement. He's not. I see him more as a Jody Fortson-esque type of replacement. So I just don't see him becoming a Travis Kelce. Does he have the intangibles? Yeah. but he's also kind of gangly, and he's not as like shifty in the open field, if that makes sense. Like Kelsey looks more savvy. And again, that just comes from years of Kelsey being Kelsey. So maybe they can get that ingrained into him and he could do it. But yeah, I do see I don't see Noah Gray's job or anything diminishing. It could put a stamp on maybe them going in a different direction after Noah Gray's contract runs out next year, though.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get back at it, man. We're in the 4th round.
Okay, 4th round, man. Let's take all these back off. I think we still got to look at the wide receiver here. We still got to look at edge. We can now take our tight end off the board. So we're going to look at wide receivers, corners. I think it's about time we start throwing interior offensive linemen back in. And I think maybe we can throw safety position in if you would like. So we've got wide receivers, interior linemen, edges, safeties, and corners right here. And this is the big board, man. You got Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver, 6'2", 195. That's Ed McCaffrey's boy. That's Christian McCaffrey's brother.
You gotta like the bloodline there.
Right, 71 catches, 992 yards, and 13 touchdowns his senior year. And by the way, at the combine, I'm pretty sure he ran like a 4.49, if I'm not mistaken. No, he ran a 4.46 at the combine. So he did run a 4.46, and he had a 36-inch vert. So he can play.
Right.
He's a converted, I want to say he's a converted quarterback or a converted running back. Mm-hmm. So he is shifty with the ball in his hands after.
Right.
Anthony Gold.
Yeah, this is a guy that the Chiefs already met with, right? Like he was a top 30 visit.
They're bringing him. Well, I don't know if they've met just yet, but he is scheduled to do a top 30 visit.
Exactly.
Right. And he is from, by the way, he's a hometown kid. He's from Leavenworth, Kansas. He ran a 4.39 at the combine and runs has a 40-inch vert. So the kid can flat out, he's very athletic. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. He offers a lot of special teams ability as well. I think round 4 on Anthony Gold is probably a little too rich. I think he's a 5th round and beyond kind of guy. This is a guy right here I really like at this position. Jalen McMillan from Washington, 6'1", 192. I think he is a lot better than his numbers indicate because why? He had to play behind Rome Odunze. He had to play behind the other kid. Yeah, Jalen Polk. McMillan is a receiver that he's going to win 50-50 balls. He's going to be able to stretch the field, and he can also catch it in the flats and make people miss. I really like that kind of pick. And then, of course, if you just come down the board, your best corners at this position are Jarian Jones, Florida State, DJ James, Auburn. And you've got the little speedy guy here, Jacob Cowing, wide receiver.
Yeah, he's very tiny, though, but he's fast, 4'3". But I think he's 5'8"?
They got him as 5'11". The official
I thought he was really short.
Yeah, his official was 5'8", 160.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But he has a 36-inch vert, by the way, and 9-inch hands. So he can catch the ball. So there is that going.
There's also
I see your Joshua Cephas kid here too. You like
right? Yeah, I brought him up forever ago, and it seems like it's caught a little steam. And then the Chiefs met with him at the combine, I think.
Right.
So it's picked up a little steam, but from early on, I thought he might be a little bit of a sleeper type.
Well,
guy.
I've looked into Joshua Cephas a little bit, Steve, and let me see if this throws off anything for you. Joshua Cephas was arrested driving while intoxicated with more than double the limit in Texas, and he pled guilty and got 15 months probation for that.
So it sounds like someone that they might draft.
Right. Do you think that off-field issue is a problem with the Chiefs? Because it doesn't seem to be, but would that be a problem with you?
Yes.
Or do you just say, hey, it's a kid making a mistake once in his life. Did he learn from it?
I think you gotta, there has to be more context, right? Obviously you can go that route, but at the same time, high character kids are probably not going to make that mistake. They know better. So it's I don't know. It depends on which way you go with that. That does not make me think the Chiefs think one way or this or another about him.
Do you think that's why they met with him to discuss that incident? I think that's exactly why they met with him. They wanted to discuss the incident.
Very well could have been. Very well could have been. Who knows?
Flapjack says that Five-Bomb, take Anus Smith from Texas. A lot of people like Anais Smith. When I dug into film of Anais Smith, I did not think he was that great. He's 5'9", 190. He did not run at the combine, so we don't have any 40 times. We have nothing. All we know is he only has 29-inch arms and 8-inch hands. To me, he's not shifty enough to play that position. I would much rather have Anthony Gold over him any day. But at the end of the day, NFL teams, are pretty bad at evaluating talent.
Well,
let's put it that way.
Let's get a poll going because they're gonna have to do. Flapjack's got Anna Smith going right here. So if we want something something different or better, you think's better, we're gonna have to do some.
So put Anna Smith on the board.
Do you just say for this exercise, let's go ahead and take wide receiver here?
Yeah.
And let's take Luke McCaffrey versus Anthony Gold versus
Jalen McMillan versus Anna Smith.
Gotcha.
We have 4 for them to choose from.
All right, cool. So I'll get that poll going then.
I think that's a pretty good mix at wide receiver. I think if you wait any longer to take the wide receiver here, I think you may be in trouble. And even in the 4th round, you may be a little too late here to grab a guy that's going to be super impactful, right?
Right.
It's possible. By the way, while Steve's doing this poll, thanks to everyone here watching us, man. We've got over 300 here. Appreciate you guys. I know it's only 2:41 there, the central time zone there in KC, but appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us here on this Wednesday. We both got to go to work tonight, so we didn't get to do our Wednesday night live a little later. We had to do it a little earlier, and we thought, hey, there's not a lot of Chiefs news going around today. It's kind of a done day, so let's just take an impact look at how what we've done in free agency may impact the draft, since it is coming up in like 30 some odd days. It is like flying up on us. So it's going to be a crazy one, but we appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for hitting the like button. Hit that sub button if you haven't. If you like good Chiefs content, man, we're going to go at it. And if you love draft content, you're going to get a lot more of this crap all the time. And by the way, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/allchieftUp. We
got one over there.
Tons of stuff over there as well. So follow us on all socials, at allchieftUp on every social you can think of. If we're not on that social at allchieftUp, it's not us, and we thought that social sucked, so we're not there. That's how we do it. But appreciate you guys again. I appreciate everybody that's donated as well. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button if you haven't. Steve, you got the poll up, baby.
Yeah, it's overwhelming McCaffrey. Like everyone wants McCaffrey, but Flapjack has a 5-bomb on Anna Smith. So if someone want McCaffrey that bad, we might have to outdo.
Right. So McCaffrey may have to how much of a poll number percentage-wise does he have to beat a 5-bomb? I think he's got to go over 50% of the poll at a 5-bomb.
Well, it's 69% right now.
Wow, that's a lot, dude.
It is.
I think if he could touch 75%, he may override the 5-bomb.
75%?
I think 75% or more, he overrides the 5-bomb.
All right.
Unless
rule you want to make up.
Hey, unless Flapjack is real serious about this, or if he just wanted to donate $5 to say anus. Which one is it? Did he really want Anaya Smith, or did you just want to write anus on our thing? So let us know. You don't have to send another, super chat. You can just tell us. Or
I feel like Flapjack would be the type of dude that would pay $5.
That's my point. Or Tommy Sparks says, no, take McCaffrey and preserve democracy. Hey, there's no democracy out here. It's all about me and Steve counting the votes over here. We'll put up who we want, okay?
We'll take in your votes. And we'll do the counting.
We'll take in your votes. We'll count these bad boys, and we'll tell you that Dylan McMahon from North Carolina State won it at the last minute. Karth says, I think he just loves anus. And so,
no.
If that's right, then we did say a 5-bomb would just about trump anything. Becky says, take Gold. He's local. A lot of people do like the local kids.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Chiefs have scheduled an interview with him. So
Jeremy says you can't take the money and change the rule.
Yeah, see?
We make the rules. I can change the rules.
Oh, no. Chiefer says, can anus stretch the field?
Let's not talk about anuses anymore. This is why we don't want this kid on the team, y'all. Come on now. It's already like everybody's already onto us about everything under the sun. So now you'll just have a guy they can call anus.
Oh, all right. Well, he's at 73%, 74% McCaffrey. What are we doing here?
75. He didn't get to 75.
It's not looking like it. He went back down to 72.
He didn't get to 75, and there was a 5-bomb for Anaya Smith. So it looks like Anaya Smith may win this one, guys. He is a slot receiver. Okay. His mother was a slot receiver too. So Anus the slot, dude. Yeah, here it comes. I can hear it now. Anus Smith, touchdown, Anus, Kansas City. Kansas City.
You did it all wrong. You would say, touchdown, Kansas City, Ana Smith.
Anias Smith.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
man.
I think we're taking
Brian Parrott said he's a spread the formation kind of guy. Look, let me talk about Ana Smith for just a minute before we make the pick. Look, Ana Smith, he's a tight wide receiver. He's 5'9", 190. He doesn't spread the field a lot, but you can pepper it over and over again, and you may make progress of getting up the field a little bit. Yeah, he's streaky. I'll give him that. He's a streaky kind of guy. I guess we're taking him, man. Just he comes through the back door right here, as Kathy has said, and he sneaks in for the pick.
You know what's
Here
funny
we go.
is like this is just something that who was it, Flapjack that did that? So it's just something that Flapjack did, and like it seems out of left field, but does it not strike you as something like the Chiefs might do? Just a random guy you haven't even thought about.
It's not, in my opinion, like he's not the worst. Like he is going to be somewhere around the 4th, 5th. He comes out of A&M in the SEC, and he is a dangerous wide receiver to a certain degree. I just was not impressed by his film that much. But I'm not saying that other people won't. And look, Brett Veach, sometimes they get enamored with guys that maybe we don't think so great.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. Adam come in with a 2-bomb and said, please, McCaffrey and Chiefs red. Adam, just a little late, buddy. Just a little late. I will say this, though. If McCaffrey's on the board next round, I guess we double dip for you.
Well, here's the thing, man. My opinion, like honestly, who was there on the board, I would have probably went with McCaffrey as well if we were going to take a receiver there.
Do you think McCaffrey's the kind of guy the Chiefs would draft, though, ultimately? I feel like his play style does not translate to the Chiefs' offense. Like, we always talk about this. Will the Chiefs take that big X guy that can do 50-50 balls and do this and do that, and every time they tend to go the Anthony Gold route?
No, I get what you're saying, but I think to me, McCaffrey, just like, I don't know him personally, obviously I don't know him specifically, but from what his dad has done, what his brother's done, the way they hold themselves, the way they played the game, I feel like that's just invaluable. Like if you got a guy that is going to have that kind of integrity and character coming in, and he's going to put in the work, and he's grew up in it. Like I feel like you can make him fit into your offense. Like he seems like the type of guy that could do what you need him to do. Like it doesn't have to be just what you think McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like he could be versatile for you. And to me, I would take him over the other guys available at that moment. I mean, I wouldn't be taking a big risk on McCaffrey, but I mean, if we're all the way in the 4th round, we haven't got a wide receiver yet, and this was our pool, I would take my shot on McCaffrey.
Okay, good deal. I like that. Okay, so next round coming in, we'll go ahead and pull wide receiver off the board here.
Mike Edwards signed with the Bills. Dang.
Yeah, Mike Edwards did sign with the Bills. So now that's why we have the safety here on the board. Here's the thing. We got DJ James from Auburn, 6'1", 164. He's a little thin. He is what it is. Kalen King was considered at one point a first-round talent at Penn State, and he has fell off the planet, right? He just fell off the planet. Cole Bishop, Utah, 6'2", 207. That's a pretty good possibility here. I think here you should put up, Steve, let's go ahead and get to the poll. I'll just throw out a few names. We'll put them on the poll. We'll let everybody choose unless somebody comes in with the bomb and overrides it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, what do you got?
Just for the sake of keeping this. Let's go Cole Bishop, another safety, just because we did lose whatever, and we lost to Edwards, but we did sign Bush back on a 1 year. Again, you got Jamari Connor. He's probably going to step in and do that. But you can never have too many late round guys here. Cole Bishop at this round would be a steal, probably.
All right.
Put down Nehemiah Pritchett. So just write in Pritchett out of Auburn. 6'1", 184, 22 tackles, 1 interception, 3 passes defended. Not impressive numbers, but the kid is very tough. And he is a shutdown, almost like a big-bodied Snead type corner. And then the third selection here, I'll go Austin Booker, edge out of Kansas, another hometown guy. I think that this is a little late for where Booker will get picked. I think he's probably late 3rd, early 4th. So in the 5th, I think this is good value on him. He's 6'6", 245. He can get after the quarterback. He kind of didn't impress at the pro day too well. it kind of hurt him a little bit at the pro day, or not at the pro day, but at the combine. He didn't do as well as everybody thought. I think he only ran like a 4.69 something 40, and everybody was expecting him to be really fast, and he just wasn't. But he's got serviceable enough moves that I think that he does have upside. So we'll see. But yeah, a lot of people don't think he's athletic enough to play and this and that. But if you watch film, you don't get that. You know what I'm saying? You watch combine to see if it translates on film, and when you watch film, he looks pretty decently athletic. And then when you watch the combine, you're like, he don't look athletic. So what gives? So
right,
I think you'll
anybody
see.
else you want in this poll, man?
No, I think this is the 3.
Okay, so that's what we're rolling with,
right? I think this is the 3 for sake. And then if somebody wants to come in with a 4th name that we haven't mentioned, and I'll just keep scrolling down through here. If you guys see something or you want to
the poll's
throw it up,
so
go for it.
Poll is up. Whatever happened to Keon Coleman? I thought the Chiefs were all over that. David Rodriguez. I don't think the Chiefs have. He just doesn't really fit into what the Chiefs do. Like, I love Keon Coleman. I think he's my favorite receiver in the draft, or one of them at least. But I just don't think the Chiefs would ever take him. I just don't think he fits the mold.
Right.
4.6 40, which obviously didn't matter. His play speed's higher than everybody else in the draft. He showed that in the gauntlet. Dude's a monster. I think there's a high upside with Coleman. Like Mike was saying earlier, he could be that guy, that someone compared him to John Baldwin one time. It was like, it could be like a John Baldwin. And I mean, I guess I see that to a certain degree. I absolutely could, but he could also be the best receiver to ever play.
Right. Can't any big time wide receiver, you just look at him and be like, well, that's John Baldwin.
Exactly.
It kind of has to match up on the film.
But I would say, like, his ball skills and just what Keon Coleman can do, I think he's an excellent receiver. But I just don't think the Chiefs would be all over that. If they were, David, though, I'd be pumped because I would love to see it.
Right. Brandon says Cole Bishop had an RAS score of 9.87. Yes, Cole Bishop will probably be a top 90 to 100 pick. I don't think he'd be there. In this situation, he is. That's why I've got him on the board. He says Pritchett had a 905 RAS score. He's decently athletic. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be.
If you're in the 9s, I mean,
right. He's not groundbreaking at the position, but he's serviceable. Jeremy said, who's the edge from Colorado State? That is Muhammad Kamara. He's 6'1", 248. He's a little small. I don't think he's going to be able to set the edge the way Spags likes. And another knock against him is that he's already 25 years old. So he's an older type prospect, and I don't think he actually sets the edge the way that they would like. And by the way, back to David Rodriguez, he said, what happened to Keon Coleman? You were just reading that one.
Yeah.
He said, I thought the Chiefs were all over that. The Chiefs have never said anything about Keon Coleman. What you're referring to is all the influencers on Twitter that got really horned up over him for about 2 weeks, and he was God's gift.
And then they switched to Xavier Worthy. Then they switched to
and then they switched to Xavier Worthy,
Mitchell.
and now it's A.D. Mitchell. So you're going to, if you'll just stay here with us, we'll run the course, and I'll still tell you that Ricky Pearsall's better than all 3 of them guys. Don't knock me, baby.
We'll see, baby. We'll see. JCP says Anus Smith had a 6.9 RAS score. Dude, they're not stopping with the Anus Smith jokes. Let the boy watch, son.
No, in all actuality, though, I don't think Ricky Pearsall's better than A.D. Mitchell. I think he's a better wide receiver by far than Xavier Worthy.
I don't think he's better than Keon Coleman either. But are you saying that Ricky Pearsall might be the guy?
He's more NFL ready to go.
You think he translates and he
runs better routes.
He's the Puka Nacua, if you will.
Yeah, he runs better routes.
Yeah.
He's football savvy. He's smart. He will do everything you ask him to do. He's not going to cry and whine. He's not going to be like the guys that want to go out and get their chrome grills all the time and post them on Twitter. You know, like your Jamar Chases of the world. Did you see where he just posted his new grill with a bunch of diamonds and stuff?
Dude, he's so worried about
that's going to match his Super Bowl rings. Wait a second.
Wait, it's not. Well, Jamar Chase he's going to take a big bunch of money. Like, that's what's so weird is everybody's like, oh, the Bengals fans out there, let's make a trade for Justin Jefferson, or let's keep T. Higgins here. You don't have Jamar Chase over there. It said there's not going to be anything left. Like, he's going to take all the money he can get.
Right. Ray says Pretty Ricky Persall. Maybe
Might
it
be
was
him.
maybe when Pretty Ricky come on the scene, that was a like a sign from the universe.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's take a look at this real quick. Cole Bishop won the poll. It was pretty close. Austin Booker was 37%, Cole Bishop at 43. What do you want to do with it? We got to keep it moving. I got to get out of here any minute.
What is it? Who's winning it?
Cole Bishop.
Okay, then we'll take Cole Bishop. The people have spoken. Cole Bishop, the safety off the board. That's great value, by the way, guys. Great value. We'll pull safety off the board. I'm going to go ahead and throw running back on at this point, and I'll go ahead and throw on wide receiver again in case we double dip here. I'm going to go ahead and throw on defensive line in case you want to go there again. So we've got edge, corner, whatever. So here's the one. Pritchett can go back on the board. Pritchett's back on in your next vote because he's here. How much vote did Pritchett have last time? Was he second place?
No, he was last, 18%.
Okay, so I think you should put Pritchett and Booker back on the board because they are still here. I think that makes sense.
Well, how about since Booker was 37%, we just go ahead and take Booker right here.
Okay, good.
And
good
it fills a need. It's something we haven't drafted
right,
yet.
Let's go for it. So
Let's
now you
do
got
that.
Booker. Okay, now we might have to get to, I think we'll pull edge off the board now. Even though Booker is not a prototypical edge like Spags likes, he is along the lines of kind of like a BJ Thompson, which we already did take. So
I wonder how BJ's going to pan out. You think he'll ever do anything?
you think BJ would like the Ada Smith pick?
Maybe.
Here we go. Final pick. Final pick. I'm just going to throw it on the board and all, and let's just see who we got. They've got kickers on the board here. Anthony Goodlow, Garrett Greenfield, Bryce Gallagher. Just stop me when you hear somebody. Jace McClellan, Isaiah Davis.
Throw some names in the chat. Throw some names out there.
Rouse for Oklahoma at a tackle right here is a steal,
Ooh,
baby.
I do like that, and it's also we need as much depth as we can get on the offensive line. So
let's just go there. He could go everywhere along the board. So
Mike trumped everybody.
I just trumped everybody, and we're going. There it is.
All right, what do we get? Let's recap this.
Here we go, guys. Let's see who the ACU crews have picked today. Byron Murphy, round 1. What a steal. Patrick Paul, the left tackle from Houston. What a steal. Theo in the 3rd round. Theo Johnson. That is a red zone threat. Number 4, we were trumped by Flapjack, and everybody got Anus Smith, wide receiver, Texas A&M. So enjoy your new slot receiver. Cole Bishop, strong safety out of Utah. 6'2", he is a monster. He will hit you and knock you out. He's pretty good. 2nd pick in the 5th round, Austin Booker, edge from Kansas. I know a lot of Jayhawks fans probably like this guy. He can get after the quarterback. There's a little bit of a athleticism issue, but I think he'll solve that at his pro day. And then the 7th round, a monster steal with Walter Rouse from just a lineman out of Oklahoma. I don't know if he'll be a tackle or a guard. He's probably going to be a swingman, kind of like the kid we took last year, Wanye. So I believe that puts a lot of depth in. I think there's a pretty solid draft. I wouldn't be angry at this draft, Steve. Why would you grade that if the Chiefs actually pulled that out?
Well, like Tommy Sparks said, could have had McCaffrey. If you had McCaffrey in there instead of Anais Smith, like I think
you guys are really pissed off about Anais Smith. I can tell. Flapjack done pissed everybody off with the pipe bomb, didn't he?
I will say I think that would make your draft grade go up just a tad bit, but it's nothing crazy. I would still, if the Chiefs pulled this off just from hitting the needs and the players that they were able to get in the first 3 rounds, it's a definite B plus. I don't know if it gets into the A's yet, but it could. I mean, that's a solid first 3 rounds there.
Right. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Brandon says, I'd be happy with this. Our offensive line and the entire defense will get better. Agree.
Yeah, the Rouse pick late was huge too. So I do like the offensive line depth there.
Flapjack says money buys happiness, and Anais Smith wins. Kelsey says draft grade C-. Players are fine, just order a position lowers. Positions lowers. So you didn't like the way the positions were picked in the order they were picked?
Yeah, well, I think if they want to go tackle, I mean, everybody loves Patrick Paul and talks about Patrick Paul all the time, but I think if they want to go tackle early, they need to move up in the first round, try to snag someone. But I felt that way last year too. Like if they were going to go tackle, we got to move up and get a good one. Right.
Right.
But
Brent says he would have liked to double dipped at wide receiver getting Theo. There's a problem with double dipping though.
there's
We're
too
not
many.
carrying 7 wide this year. So if we just take guys over and over and over again, there's a lot of people have to go.
I think
Steve Lance and a lot of people are just still under the impression that we're going to cut Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and Justin Watson. I do not see them cutting half of that receiver room.
you're not going to cut a second round draft pick on a rookie contract. It's not happening.
I don't know if you cut Kadarius Toney with as much talent as he has for as cheap as he's playing.
Yeah, I don't see it. But I think that the signing of Hollywood Brown kind of put any ideas of double dipping wide receiver to bed. I would think.
I mean, they still could.
If they did, it'd just be so weird that they'd have to.
If you double dip a wide receiver,
looking at 10 wide receivers again, trying to figure out which 6 to put on the squad.
Right.
It's weird. I don't know.
And you're going to have to give up on your Justin Ross. You're going to have to give up on all these guys. Like, I don't know if the Chiefs are prepared to give up on Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore. And a guy like Justin Watson, again, he's not the biggest threat in the world, but he is a guy Patrick Mahomes likes and trusts. And Andy does too, so.
And I think the only way the Chiefs go tight end in this draft, honestly, is if they think Theo or one of those guys, like they can see them turning into something, like if they think it's like we have to have this guy, we can develop him, maybe. But other than that, I think they could completely ignore tight end again.
Right. Macca says wide receiver drafting was too weak. I think you're going to run into that problem. Now, this is why you do this kind of stuff, right? Because you want to see this kind of stuff. These are just projections. You run into that problem if at pick number 32, you have a player like Byron Murphy that would fall to you. Because that's a position at a position like him or even a Darius Robinson pick, that will throw a wrench in that now. And if you want your tackle, you have to take him in round 2, which means you have to go wide receiver round 3, the earliest you can get. And Theo Johnson was the best one on the board there, right? So it does make wide receivers start getting really iffy if a guy like Byron Murphy falls in the first round, or you was to take like a Darius Robinson, or God forbid they was to take like an Enos Rakestraw there. If you take any position that's not tackle in the first round, if it's not wide receiver, as deep as this is, it really does start to look like it starts to look less sexy down the board, right? Because these are decent players, but they're not like, it's not your Keon Coleman's, it's not your Xavier Legette's.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of if you don't go wide receiver in the first round, which I don't think they will. I think that you have to take the best one available at the end of the second round. If you got lucky enough to have a Legette fall to the end of the second round, then you take him. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. But I think that's really how they'll go. But don't rule out them trading up in the second round to grab a receiver. They could draft first, whatever they want. They always trade up in the second round. Well, they traded back for Sky Moore, but either way, they'll move around in the second round for a wide receiver. They moved up for McCole Hardman. If they'll move up for McCole Hardman, surely to God they'd move up for Xavier Legette or someone like that. So, I mean, don't rule that out.
Right. You don't really know what they're going to do. And when you're not doing, you do drafts like this, like mock drafts, just to kind of put yourself in positions of who's available. It's not like you're always going to hit the exact person or the exact pick, but you kind of see how it works. So you kind of see if that player does fall, that doesn't feel like a huge need, and you take them like the Byron Murphy, which, by the way, defensive line is probably a big need for us.
Yes and no. They filled it. They did fill it up, but they need some longevity there, right? If you could get something like a Byron Murphy, then
doesn't Byron Murphy automatically beat Derek Nottie and Turk Wharton? Yeah. I mean, come on, you're automatically uplifting that. And then if you take the chance that Chris Jones slides in a year and a half or 2 years, and he doesn't stay at that high level, you still got a nice backup plan in the tank.
Sure. Overall, pretty good draft though. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us and doing that. It's pretty fun. We'll probably do this more. Just like Mike said, explore different avenues, look at different players, different scenarios, like what the Chiefs might have to do if they take this position first round, second round, whatever. So it's cool to do these. We'll try to do more of those. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Flapjack, Adam, TGZ. Appreciate you guys with the super chats, and also Pops and Flip. I miss Flip. Appreciate you, Flip, and Pops with the 5 gifted. Appreciate the support. But yeah, man, I got to go to work. So
dun dun.
Dun, dun,
hey,
dun.
I'm right there with you.
Work after work, baby. Gotta love it.
Appreciate all you guys being here, man, for real. I don't have nothing else for you. Nothing else for you.
And nothing for you guys.
Just a little Go Chiefs, and if anybody's got any L'Jarius Sneed news, send it our way.
No one has. It's all lies.
It's lies.
It's all lies. We'll see you next time.
Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.